So we've already minimized the conversation of the marketing. Let's not pat ourselves on the back or give ourselves too much credit for just marketing. That's a minimum requirement. The follow-up, the text messages, the open houses, that's all minimum requirement. Good morning, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Araujo. And I got to tell you, I was driving into the office and I was just riding on cloud nine. I mean, I had this surge of energy. I've had so much appreciation and gratitude. I'm like, I'm going to have a great day. I am going to do all things. I'm going to show patience. I'm going to show love. I'm going to have solutions to every problem that comes my way. And it's really just aligning myself with what it is that I want to create, right? And with creating things, something bigger in your life, something more meaningful, a purpose-driven life requires that you have an end goal in mind. It requires that you're able to, just focus on the bigger picture, on the things that you truly want, why you got into this industry, why you stepped into the void of entrepreneurship when it's probably the most difficult thing you can ever do, where the vast majority of those that try will fail. But the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship and small business ownership is that the more times you fail, the more likely it is for you to succeed. Isn't that like the biggest oxymoron out there, right? The more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. And every individual that is now hitting a milestone when it comes to their production, their profitability, face those same failures you may be facing. Face that same level of doubt, faced, asking themselves, why even continue to move forward? All I'm feeling is the pain. All I'm feeling is the resistance. There is no outcome. I'm doing all the right things, right? It's being able to overcome that. And it requires this intention and focus of like just shattering the stories of the things we are telling ourselves. And I think sometimes we use the word too much. Like, think about this. The word too is too expensive. It's too much. It's too hard. There's too much competition. Others are too far ahead. The prices are too high for my clients. It's too time consuming. I'm too far behind. Videos are too intimidating. I'm too shy. Like, think about all these things, right? Because we want the bigger outcomes, the bigger results. We've witnessed others around us reach levels that we wish we had, and we're like, they're too lucky. I'm too far behind. I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm too dumb. I've been in that situation where I'm now bashing myself, right? And being in this place of negativity. Like, I don't have the intelligence. I don't have the drive. I don't have the purpose, AZ. Like, what am I to do? I'm just trying to figure this out. And with that, it's like we got to understand how the dynamic of business works. There are certain things that will get you into the conversation of being a small business owner, right? Which will get you into, let's say, the stadium. But that alone won't get you the playing time you need. You may work up to be on the bench, but to be in the game, it requires a deep sense of knowing what it is that you're going after. And simply going through what's required, right? The responsibilities of you as a real estate agent is not a win necessarily. I understand how difficult it is to try to market and come up with content on a consistent basis. I know how awkward it can be to reach out to past clients or to have a conversation about sales. I don't want to sound too salesy. I don't want to be too pushy, right? We say things like that to ourselves in a way to like not really push the envelope, because putting opportunities for your clients to buy, it requires a skill set. It requires a conversation. It requires a capacity to be able to help them make that decision. But it's these limiting words and these limiting thoughts that really just keep us there. And it gives us a false sense of accomplishment when in fact, there's so much more we need to do throughout the day. And I understand that there's an extreme focus here at A's and Associates about marketing and following up, working in your CRM and engaging with your clients, setting up open houses, texting, creating reels. I understand that the pressure to do that is intense. Not only do you have to be consistent with social media marketing, but it's going to require 3 to 5 posts a day. It's going to require 6 to 10 stories a day. It's going to require you to engage and put some more offers out to your clients. When I say offers, I mean opportunities of what's available in real estate. And I've said this before, like Alex Armozy says, he says, make an offer so good, they'd feel stupid saying no. But the fact is, many of us are not presenting those offers / opportunities enough. So there is no or even a yes that is possible from that. Because even going through that process of promoting and marketing your company, if you don't go a step beyond that and understand that there's many levels beyond that we need to get to of trying to convert, to trying to get a conversations to convert into a prequel or a listing appointment. It's not just about the marketing. That's not a win. That'll get you on the bench. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do with your follow-up, sending text messages out, that is not playing the game. You're on the bench. And what most agents do in our industry is that they only market every once in a while. And that doesn't even put you on the bench. That puts you behind the bench, which are fans. Fans are spectators. Fans are the ones that are criticizing others and desiring what people in the game actually have. So you're not even at the bench, you're behind the bench if you only market every once in a while. So now you become a spectator of everyone else being able to create the exact lifestyle that you're seeking. And what a shame, right? Because they're not more skilled than you. They're not more intelligent. They're not more driven. They didn't have a better upbringing than you, better environments. All they have is just more consistency. And that's a skill set that every one of us has the availability for us to create that. We all have access to that. It doesn't require a higher IQ. It doesn't require, right, you being free from trauma and past experiences. It doesn't require you to always be in power. It just requires you to show up. So now if we minimize what we're supposed to do, the responsibilities, and say, okay, that's not even a win. That's just to be in the conversation. Now we can have a better conversation. But if we're getting stuck of like, oh, AZ, I'm too shy. I can't even be on video. I don't know what to say when I text a past client. It's too intimidating. It's been too long since I've reached out. Well, it's like, damn, you can't even get on the bench. And you're expecting to make the type of income as the players that are not only doing that, but are doing that at a high level, but are starting every single game as you're sitting there, swapping seats from a spectator to a bench warmer, back to a spectator. Well, damn. That's where resentment brews in. That's where jealousy actually starts growing. Right? And jealousy is a form of trying to take credit for the work you didn't do. That's where the core of jealousy is from. Is thinking that you should have what others have, but yet haven't done anything close to what they've done or sacrificed to be in that position. You're only looking at it from the surface. Well, I've been in the business 10 years. Why is this rookie blowing me out of the water? They're so lucky. And it's a form, right? To undermine the work, the sacrifice, the consistency that they've done. What you don't see is that they've been holding open houses 4 to 5 days a week, maxing out their credit cards, borrowing money, Going home and feeling like overwhelmed and not knowing where the next check is coming from. That's what you don't see. Where they don't have a spouse that has a full-time job that can carry him through these hard times. It's all on them. That's what you don't see. I've done this many a times. Many times where I just didn't have the money. But I wasn't going to quit. I was going to find it. Even if it took maxing out every credit card, then that's what it was going to take. All in meant all in, not somewhat in. But I knew that there are certain actions that will get me in the game. The inconsistency of things. I didn't like to be a spectator. Being in a position where I'm actually jealous of somebody else's progression because I wasn't minding my own business. I was in everybody else's business and everybody else's life. When all I had to simply do was just the minimum requirements. Make offers, showcase opportunities, market relentlessly, and not be caught just there thinking that that was a way to feel like I won the day. There's another layer to this that we all have to be aware of, and that's the end result. And that there's different phases in real estate of what the end result is. So if you're caught in the warm-up, right, and that's what marketing is, that's what following up is. It's just simply that. It's just warming up, showing up to practice. Okay? But it's going to require a whole level of intention, a whole new level of intention and focus and being very clear of what constitutes a win. Getting those stats on the board, right? So you have to impress the coaches. You have to impress your clients enough to be on the bench so that you can get some playing time. Maybe it's the what they call those trash minutes, right? Where you're blowing out the competition so much that they throw you in to get a few minutes. Hopefully you get an assist stat. Hopefully you can get a rebound stat. And ultimately a bucket. The profits, right? An assist would probably be a prequel. A rebound would probably be like an appointment. But the bucket is the profits. But if you want to move from just going into the trash minutes to actually being a starter, you have to be uber focused. What constitutes a win? And I'm going to break this down for you so that there is no question. So you're not sitting out there as a spectator or even a bench warmer. Okay? We're not going to put emphasis on did you market today? Did you make your videos today? That's elementary. That's not difficult. That's the minimum requirement. And if the minimum requirement is too difficult for you, then I would reconsider your bid to be an entrepreneur. Just be honest. Maybe you weren't cut out for this. Because if you're making it too difficult to do the minimum requirements, just be honest with yourself. Because your interpretation of I will do whatever it takes is very different from our top 1%. And I see individuals here that I've seen literally do whatever it takes and not quit. Joanna, George, you're one of them, right? Caroline, you're another one. I've seen it time and time again. And we have to understand that this is the mindset and the mentality we have to step into this week. Because the competition is not too far ahead. Only the top 2% close over 60% of our deals. So the vast majority of your competition is non-existent. So how do you get a starting position, right? How do you get from the bench warmer where you get only some minutes? And those individuals are those that close maybe one a month, right? One every other month, two. And to be 1%, it's real easy. Just get one a week. One escrow a week. But if you can't even see that, then you'll always be at that sporadic outcome. You got to be able to envision that now. What is it going to take? Well, it's going to start all the way at the top, and you're going to have more conversations. Your marketing has to get elite, right? Because if you only have one prospect that you're talking to, and you're hoping that this person is going to go all the way down the funnel to a closing, right? Because that one prospect now has to get pre-qualified. Then you have to, get a negotiation process going. Hopefully get a contract accepted, right? It's going down the line. One at a time. To have one escrow a week, you probably have to have 10 to 15 people that you're talking to that have expressed interest. And if that number seems too big, then you're not doing enough. Because the aspirations of you becoming a top 1% or a top 2% player in this game is going to require that type of outcome. Not one at a time, not two or three at the top end, 10 to 15, if not more. And I love the type of outcomes we're getting from my inner circle group. I love it because we don't talk about the marketing necessarily. We talk about how to improve it, how to be more efficient, how to follow up better, but we're not talking about the struggles of even getting a post out there. We're not talking about the struggles of asking for referrals. We're not talking about the struggles of doing the social media, follow-up and the stories and the emails and the text messages. We're not talking about the struggles there. That's too elementary. We're talking about the wins. And that's the conversation I want to go into now. So we've already minimized the conversation of the marketing. Let's not pat ourselves on the back or give ourselves too much credit for just marketing. That's a minimum requirement. The follow-up, the text messages, the open houses, that's all minimum requirement. Okay? And maybe I should be talking to your spouse. So when you say, I marketed so many times, they're like, good job. I'm going to be like, hey, don't give them a good job, or don't give her a good job for that. Because that's not actually a win. That's just like clocking in and doing what you're supposed to do. So you could maybe, get that one over on them, but you're not going to get that one over a real player in this industry. Because we understand that that's just a minimum requirement. Make sense? So what constitutes a win? Well, when you're able to take all that marketing and you're able to now take that and have a conversation about real estate, right? Prospects. That's the difference between a lead and a prospect. A lead is just anybody you know, anybody who's interacted with you, anyone who's called you. It could be family, friends, coworkers. It could be a number of things. It could be social media friends. But a win, kind of like a stat, where it doesn't necessarily, put points on the board, but it does assist you to getting there. I would say something like, there's NBA basketball happening. Maybe like giving an assist. This might be considered that, or I think it's even below that. I would say just like setting a pick for a teammate so he can get open, right? I would say that's something along those lines. Maybe encouraging teammates. I would say a prospect is exactly that. That's along the same lines. This is important. It puts you closer to the conversation of a win, the profits, right? Closing a transaction, but it's not really, going to make money for you. So I would say the first level of winning, the first phase of actually taking all that minimum requirements, what we talked about, the follow-up, the CRM, the text messages, right? Your marketing, the open houses. Now we're getting into the win columns, the win buckets. Okay, prospects. That's considered a stat on the board. What else is considered something? How about a referral? Because you are diligent and very intentional about asking from referrals from all your clients that you put under contract, all your past clients that you've closed. Every conversation now leads into the conversation, right? The conversation of referrals. Every interaction, I should say. Every interaction leads into the conversation of referrals. That's considered, okay, some type of stat on the board. Okay, so what's the second phase of this? Well, if you can take that prospect and referral and actually have a buyer consultation, I would say that's another phase of winning. Or a listing presentation. That's another phase of winning. So now if you could take those prospects and referrals and convert them into an appointment, that's a phase of winning, right? It's getting you closer to the ultimate win. Is it a win all by itself? Well, maybe for the day, but not long term. But now we're getting away from the minimum requirements again, because I think we've stressed that out too much. I think it's my fault too. And one thing that I've learned about the inner circle, we don't talk about those things. We talk about how many pre-quals did you get? How many escrows did you put in the last 7 days? How many total escrows do you have? How many closings did you get in the last 7 days? And how many closings do you have year to date? We're talking end result. So now we got phase 1, which is a referral and a prospect. Phase 2, we got either a buyer consultation or a listing presentation, right? Appointments. Then phase 3. Phase 3 is, did you get that listing signed? Did you get a pre-qual today? Did you get a pre-qual received today? I would consider those wins, right? Assists, rebounds, an escrow. The next phase is, did you get a contract accepted? Did you successfully negotiate a deal? I would say that is on the final phase of winning, right? And then the ultimate outcome is, did you close the deal today? So now you understand what the win buckets, the win columns are for your business on a daily basis. Everything else is effort. I'm not going to talk about effort. I'm going to talk about outcomes. The effort, you should know that that's your responsibility. No one should convince you of putting videos out. No one should try to convince you of sending text messages out. You have to decide how bad you want this. Period. If you're still struggling on the front end in practice, you have no chance in a real game. Then just be okay being a spectator and a bench warmer, where you close every once in a while, where you get playtime every once in a while. But I know you're a competitor. I know you came into this industry because you saw something great for yourself. So now let's just get clear about what the real objectives are. Prospects, referrals, buyer consultation, listing presentation, pre-qual received, listing signed, a contract accepted, and a deal that closed. Those are the win buckets. Those are the win buckets for today. And it starts at the top end. So all your efforts must constitute a win. So you got to work towards that pre-qual. You can't be struggling with the market. I'm telling you this right now. Work towards the pre-qual, right? Work towards getting a prospect, getting somebody to conversate with you. Work on getting a referral. Work on setting appointments. Like, you must get one of those win buckets. Is it a buyer consultation? Is it a listing presentation? Get the pre-qual, get the listing signed. Get a contract accepted today. Close a deal. Understand that there's players that fill up these buckets each and every day. Just imagine that. There are people in our industry right now, in our organization right now, that are working with prospects, getting referrals, actually having a buyer consultation today and a listing presentation today. They're also getting pre-quals from their lenders. They're getting listings signed today. They got a contract accepted today and they're closing a deal today. Do you see yourself there? And if you don't at the moment, what is it going to require you to be in that conversation? These are elite individuals. These are the Michael Jordans of our industry, right? Where they're filling up the stats in every bucket. Everything. At the end of the game, their stat sheet is filled with defense, offense, with defensive stats and offensive stats. So we got to stop with the struggles of the practice, the things that practice. It's important. We have to condition ourselves, but that's a requirement. You can't accept that as a win. No longer. We can't accept that as a win. It is a requirement. You must text past clients. You must follow up with your social media marketing. You must put 6 to 10 stories out there. You must post 3 to 5 times. You must schedule your open houses. You must ask for referrals. Like, that's not a win if you do those things. That's just to keep you in the conversation. To start working towards the prospects and the referrals, the buyer consultation, the listing presentation, a pre-qual received, a listing signed, a contract accepted, and a deal closing. That's the end game. And you should set a standard that you got to fill these buckets each and every day. Now, are you going to fill each one of them? No. I understand how difficult that can be. It's not going to happen every day. But if you don't have a vision of what it constitutes a win, then it's never going to happen. Then it's going to be few and far between. So the minimum requirement today is to fill up one of these buckets, to fill up a few of these buckets. For you players, the goal is always to fill every one of these buckets. We all need that clarity of what it is that's going to really constitute a win. We can't be under this false narrative that doing the minimum requirements constitutes a win, because we are clear that it doesn't. Our top 1% is not just satisfied that they marketed and followed up with some individuals. They understand that that's part of the responsibility to ultimately get into that win column, the win buckets. So let's get clear. Let's get clear about what the objectives are today. You're in a perfect position, in a perfect market, at the perfect brokerage to create the very lifestyle that got you into this industry. Let's get after it. Let's not hold back. You have more within you. Let's create that stability, that safety, that security for our household. Let's create that confidence that comes with building something great. I'm asking you to come with me. I know exactly what I need to do today, and I've outlined it here for the last 29 minutes of where you need to be. So let's get after it. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.